You don't need fixing before you start doing. You may have been told that if you have pain, there's certain things that you have to fix about yourself before you start doing the things that you love. Or you've probably been told if you start doing those things, you're gonna pay for it later. Guess what? I'm gonna say that's a load of poppycock, right? That's just nonsense. Sometimes doing the things you love is exactly the fix that you need. Or the things that you love is the most important part of your recovery. It's not the only part, but it should be a huge part of your therapy process. One way to look at recovery from pain and injury is that in some way you challenge something about yourself. You know, there's a new activity that you do, a new way of looking at things. It's a stressor. And what we do as humans, we adapt to those stressors, ideally in a positive way. So at its simplest, you know, when you tear a muscle, you can't just rest that muscle. You actually need to stress it. Stressing that muscle is what causes it to adapt and to heal and get stronger and have less chance of tearing again. If you have low bone density, you have to challenge that bone and load that bone in order for that bone to get stronger and for you to have less risk of a fracture. Same thing with treating anxiety. It's not just about avoiding anxiety-inducing situations. It's about developing the skills to cope with that anxiety when you're in those situations. So I'd argue that the things that you aren't doing, the things that you are missing in your life because of pain, those are the most important things that you need to start doing again. So my favorite thing to tell the patients that I work with who have like long-term knee pain for decades or years, their x-rays show that there's changes in the bones and the cartilage and they want to run, I say, let's go for a run. Right? It's kind of ridiculous. What can't you do? What do you want to do? Okay, let's do some of that. Let's slowly build you up and you'll adapt and you can do fantastic again. If you want to start rock climbing, if you want to start knitting, if you want to start skiing again, then those are the things that you get to start doing again. That's part of a comprehensive, good treatment approach. Because we know that people who have pain have something called biographical suspension. And that's when individuals put life on hold in the expectation of an eventual return to their former pain-free selves. Essentially, they're waiting to be fixed before they start doing. We have to turn that on its head. It's the doing that is the fixing. Can I say that enough? So recovery is kind of about pressing that play button again. You're on pause, let's unpause that. Let's get going. Now, resuming the things that you love, that has an inherent value. But I'd argue that it can also help all of the things that help drive your sensitivity. So meaningful physical activities can improve your health and your pain via social engagement, physical activity, stress relief, addressing anxiety, and giving you hope. You know, pain is multifactorial, and starting to do the things again that you love checks a lot of those boxes. But I'm not saying it's easy, and it can seem hard and it can seem scary, you know, but we can do this. And I do recognize there are times where you have to back off. If you haven't run in 30 years and your knees hurt, you're not going to run a marathon tomorrow. But you can start with a walk. You can start with 10 seconds of jogging. You can start running in a pool. Because we can use the things that you are missing and we dose them appropriately, you can adapt to them and you can recover and you can live well. And surprisingly, you can even do these things quite often when they hurt, which is another video coming up in this series. And I'd argue that working with a therapist whose primary qualification is helping you get back to the things that you love, that's the person that you should be looking to work with. All right, in our next video, we're gonna talk about how you can poke into pain and why you're safe and why it's actually important to start doing the things that you love, even when it hurts sometimes. See you then.